Yes, guys, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy, back with another video. Honestly, um, I'm just patching up. I'm patching up my health. That's why the uploads are coming in one by one. But of course, like I said, by the end of this week, we should be able to get back to running ways. Now, 90 men have said Arsenal are preparing an offer for Yves Bisouma. And they will firm up their interest in the player in this summer. So that's what we're going to discuss. A couple of reports from 90 men. Honestly, one of those reports that I do love a lot. I really follow them. I really follow 90 men a lot, just like The Athletic, just like Football.London, just like the likes of Fabrizio Romano and Gazzetta dello Sport. So I trust in them and I believe in them. So this early morning today, they come out and said Arsenal are actually considering firming up their interest in Yves Bisouma. This is a deal that is so complicated, very, very complicated, but we shall get up to the bottom of it. Just stay with me on Cossy's Arsenal podcast. So please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you're not new and you have not subscribed before, please do. I've not covered the Euros. My health cannot actually guarantee that, but probably starting with the quarterfinals, I will be able to cover the quarterfinals in the Euros and many more things. But anyway, I know what your interest is basically who comes in and Arsenal and who goes out, and that's what I'm gonna try to do in these 2 or 3 months in June, July and August. So let us get into it. Brought to you by One Expert. Make sure you check out their website. Link is in the video description, and if you use my promo code Cossy Media, you'll be able to redeem up to more than $130 just on your first deposit. How beautiful that is. Now, you can follow me on Twitter. I've retweeted this, and you will be able to see what I'm actually talking about. It's been today morning, 90 men have said Arsenal will firm up their interest in Brighton's Yves Bisouma this summer as Mikel Arteta looks to bolster his midfield options. And of course, furthermore, down here, they've said that 90 men understands Arsenal are looking to strengthen their interest in the midfielder. Liverpool and Leicester City have also contacted Brighton with regards to a possible move for Bisouma, though his unwillingness to move so far north makes the Gunners firm favourites. That's according to 90 Min Football reporting on behalf of all the Arsenal sources. Now, like I said, this one is a very difficult one. It's a very interesting deal because the player is totally and 100% obsessed with moving to the club. He's 100% obsessed with moving to Arsenal. However, the problem is the club in Arsenal is not obsessed with the player, and I think that's the only problem. That is where the problem is. If Arsenal would, if Arsenal were desperate to get Yves Bisouma, I don't know why we are so reluctant. I've not actually found a reason. Of course, Fabrizio said we are looking for something different. We want someone, someone with a better skill set. We want someone who has that kind of, skill collection better than Thomas Partey. I don't think, honestly, I don't think Yves Bisouma has that. I've been watching Mark Goldbridge today in the morning, and he was saying that Bisouma could be a CDM, he could be a box-to-box, he could be whatever you want. But honestly, I think he's a CDM, and that's it. It's modern football. He's a modern player. You can drift him wherever you want. You can put him wherever you want. Just like Donny van de Beek. But if you want to get the best out of him as a player, I think he's more comfortable in that CDM role than any other role. So I honestly think if you brought him in Arsenal, then you have Thomas Partey shifting a little bit more forward, just like you saw how Declan Rice was playing with Phillips, in that England game. I know many of you watched. So probably, you could make Thomas Partey, into that Phillips role, and then you have, Bisouma way back as the CDM. Honestly, I can't say it's a deal that I see happening. It's a difficult one. It's a very, very difficult one. Many fans love Bisouma. The player loves the club. We have worked with the player's agent before. There are so many factors that favor Arsenal into the Bisouma deal. Honestly, lots and lots and lots of factors are favoring us. But there are also things that really a stumbling block to this deal. And first and foremost, like I said, it's not a priority. I mean, how can you force, the manager? How can you force, the transfer board to sign a player who's not on top of their list first? So he's not a priority, and I don't know who's on, who is on top of our list. Probably we could see something like a surprise, because the likes of Emi Buendia, who we believe have been at least top, at least second or first on that transfer wish list, have gone to the likes of Aston Villa, and it's embarrassing how we lost such a transfer battle to a ridiculous Aston Villa, with all due respect to Aston Villa. So the Yves Bisouma deal, I want to believe Arsenal will do this deal. I want to believe it's a deal that will eventually do, because we are in pole position to do this deal. It is our laziness. It's only that that reluctance. I don't know whether we do not have the funds at the moment, or we want to do our business post the Euro time, because there's so many things, there's so many explanations we can give. I mean, why hasn't Arsenal signed players by this time after such a season? It's crazy. It's really crazy. But I think, and honestly, if we become a little bit more logical than fans and think outside the box, it's the Euros. I think Arsenal will try to do its deals post the Euros after July 11th. So probably we could get the deals sorted out, try to deal here and there, in June and before the Euros end. But much of our business could actually come after the Euros. I don't know whether we are gonna use the Euros as a sporting ground, as a sporting ground for our players, which wouldn't be bad, by the way, because I've seen the likes of is he called Demi Fries from Netherlands, and everybody is is crying for him. I've seen the likes of Marcus Sabata. He had a beautiful game, and everybody's talking about Marcus Sabata, and of course we've been linked with Sabata before January. I think it was in the summer. So if you look at this deal, the Yves Bisouma Brighton Arsenal deal, with the likes of Liverpool. I don't believe there is genuine interest from Leicester City. They have signed Boubakary Soumare. They have Wilfred Ndidi in that area. There is no way they're gonna spend money, almost 30 or 35 million pounds again in that area. Already in that area they have around 4 players. They have Yuri Tillemans, who is the better player to play with Wilfred Ndidi. I think Ndidi's injury prone record is going to affect his career, but I think he's one of the best players in that area. So if you have Soumare and you have Ndidi and you have Yuri Tillemans, unless this summer they'll let go of a player, either Tillemans, because I think what Tillemans gives them, Soumare can give them more of that kind of Ndombele player. Then Ndidi, apart from his being injury prone, he's a fantastic player. So I don't see Leicester City in for it, but I see Liverpool in for a player like Yves Bisouma. The likes of Keita, and I've said this before, the likes of Keita, by this time, Liverpool know that they're not going to get the quality player they wanted in Naby Keita. And their captain, who's been their powerhouse, in Jordan Henderson, is getting older and older. They need a replacement. I think Kevin Phillips is a little bit too young, but too brilliant. You can never write him off, but he's called Calvin Phillips, actually, not Kevin Phillips. So I think Liverpool will be a major contender for Bisouma, and they will want him. But Arsenal still have the opportunity. Arsenal still have the upper hand to sign him. And I think in the end, it goes back to what I said. What are we looking for? What is our identity? And what do we want to become? Those were words of James Harcourt. And I said, I've already said before, what does Arsenal, where are we, and where do we want to go? The player we sign next to Thomas Partey will determine what kind of midfield we will have for the next 5 years. If you have Bisouma and Partey, that means you're literally gonna have a possessing midfield that is very defensive wise, that is very good defensive wise, but you might not have that ability to to progress the ball and create much threats like you see you see a club like City. If you brought in a player like Houssem Aouar and partnered him with a player like Thomas Partey, that is another kind of that's another kind of midfield. If you brought in a player like Gigi Wijnaldum, who's apparently moving to PSG, if you brought in Gigi Wijnaldum and placed him with Thomas Partey, that's another kind of midfield. So it's a very technical area, very technical. For me, for us, in this summer, whoever we bring in that midfield to replace Granit Xhaka, who I think will move eventually, is going to be very key. Honestly, if you're gonna keep Mikel, it's gonna be a player like Houssem Aouar or Senderbach. If you're gonna bring in a new manager, probably if it was someone like Conte, you'd be going for something like something more defensive. If you're playing Mauricio Sarri is not so much of a defensive manager. So I think he loves the opening up. You could go for anyone who's a little bit more open-minded, probably kind of Donny van de Beek in that area. So it's a very technical area, but I've said this before and I'll say it again, that if Arsenal do not get their first target, they'll go for Yves Bisouma. It's the reason as to why we lost the Emi Buendia deal, by the way. I think what we wanted first and foremost was, can we try to get Martin Odegaard as we and that's why we made the first bid. I genuinely, I don't think Aston Villa beat us to this deal. Of course, I don't want to be a bad loser, but I think what we're trying to do is try to keep the player on his tenterhooks, try to keep the fire burning, try to keep the flame burning as we enter the tunnel deeper and deeper. Because we knew at first Odegaard could sign or couldn't, or could not sign. Then we had set our targets. If we do not get Odegaard, we shall go for Emi Buendia. Now, what happened was Villa were very, not Villa, but Norwich were very clever. They knew that we were regarding them as second options. We are regarding them as second best, and we were regarding their player as second best. And that's why they say, you know what? Villa are giving us the best deal. They're giving us £33 million. They're giving us a sell-on clause of 10 million. Why not? Let's move for this deal. It's even the better deal. And Arsenal lost the deal like that, and that's why I wasn't so surprised when we lost the deal. I was only surprised that we lost it to Aston Villa, honestly. But I wasn't so surprised because I knew he wasn't our first priority. It's the same with Yves Bisouma. He ain't our priority. We still want to chase Senderbach, who is out with Norway. We still want to chase the likes of Houssem Aouar, who we are not sure of, whether we are interested. In the end, when Arsenal is devastated, they'll go to Brighton and say, you know what, we're gonna give you this amount of money. Give us Yves Bisouma. But let us see how that deal moves out. I'll be speaking to you very shortly live, I think. If I feel a little bit better in the way I gasp my breath, then I'll come live at around 7 and we'll speak more about these deals. We speak about Onana, we speak about Leno. The reports that Arsenal have set the price for Ban Leno, it's 18 million euros. Well, that's too low. That is very low, below the valuation. I thought it would be around 25 million pounds for a goalkeeper like Ban Leno. But we shall speak about that at exactly 7:30 if I feel better. And I'll speak to you very soon. Make sure you hit the like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new.